Guess what? I got something to tell you. We all live the same life. Well, kinda. Sit down with us as we discuss various topics regarding being married millennials. When your spouse is both your best friend and your pain in the you know what. Welcome to another episode of the Married to Millennials podcast. I'm Tuck.
And I'm Mishi.
What's up, baby?
Hi.
How's it going? Uh-oh. Let me guess.
What?
Magnificent.
Glorious.
Hey, that's what I like to hear. All right. So I'm going to start this off with a little questionnaire. How's that sound?
There go my throat again.
Yep. Oh my gosh. You and this gas, I tell you. You and you not being able to burp. That is crazy. Everybody get to hear all that. So I'm going to start off with a questionnaire. As they say, is it questionnaire? Questionnaire.
There.
Questionnaire. Got you. I am going to read you a few questions and I want you to say yay or nay. You ready?
Yep. Yay.
Hey, you followed directions. You was the champion, as Simon says, wouldn't you? Babe, if I fell off tomorrow, would you still love me? Yay or nay?
Yay.
If I didn't smell so good, would you still hug me?
Nay.
If I got locked up and sentenced to a quarter century, could I count on you to be there to support me mentally?
It depends on what happened.
Mind you, that's 25 years.
It depends on the situation at
Okay.
hand. If you did something stupid, then nay.
Okay. If I went back to a hoopty from a Benz, would you poof and disappear like some of my friends?
Boy, listen. We were riding around with Maria
Right. Ooh.
with no front.
Yes.
At one point.
Maria was a oh man, I don't even know what year. It had to be like a what? 96, 98, I think it was.
98, I think.
98 Saturn with a missing front bumper because of a previous accident that my car was totaled, but I still was gonna drive that thing.
I'm not letting it go.
I wasn't. I ain't. What I was supposed to drive? Totally, and only gave me 1,000. What am I supposed to get with that? Anyway, sorry.
It was a 98.
Okay.
It was like 2013.
But it was my 98. Okay. Anyway, if I was hit and I was hurt, would you be by my side?
Yay.
If it was time to put in work, would you be down to ride?
Well, it depends. I'm a ride or live.
Okay. All right, this next one.
I don't know
Bear
about
with
that
me.
ride or die stuff.
You're a ride or live.
Mhm.
I feel you on that. All right. All right, I'm gonna skip this next question because it's a little explicit. But if I ain't rap, because I flip burst,
What did you want to be 50 Cent today?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, 50 Cent had some very valid questions. The other one was ride or die, so we just kind of skipped that one. I think y'all know lyrics for that. Oh, okay, yeah, we're gonna leave that one out too. Yeah, that was my last question. So you guys know familiar with the song 21 Questions. I want everybody to think, was 50 Cent being unreasonable?
Some of it.
Yes, some of it he was. It was like far-fetched. Like, come on, dude. Like, really? Like, you know these answers. Like, but the thing is, this is me. If she answered yes to all them questions, she got to go. She got to go because she ain't using the brain up top that God gave her.
She ain't.
Because I
Can't
want you
be.
to listen. As men, we need y'all to be logical for us sometimes. If some ideas don't sound good, I need you to bring me back down to earth and say, "Nah, baby, that ain't it."
Don't you worry.
Right? You gonna let it be known, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I feel that. Which brings me to we can kind of segue into our topic today. It's about careers, dreams, and passions. And along with that, sacrifices.
Okay.
How's that sound? Ready to dive in?
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna kind of set it up because I wanted to elaborate because we kind of tiptoed around. We didn't tiptoe, but we didn't fully go into detail of our situation when I was in school. And we're just going to kind of previously in the other episode, we talked about how you held the household down pretty much while I was in school
Mhm.
and financially. Um, so I just wanted to kind of dive back into that as well too. I want to ask you one question, well, multiple questions, but the first question is going to be: do you feel as though some of your dreams and desires were put on hold because of that time? Or
No, I don't think so.
okay,
Only because I think I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do in general.
okay,
Because I had finished up my master's degree, and I was just like, what next?
hmm
Like, what am I going to do next? I knew I didn't want to go back and sit in nobody's classroom,
right,
and I was trying to figure out how to use my degree so it wouldn't go to waste.
hmm
'Cause I wanted to be in the like medical, healthcare, whatever field,
hmm
but the reason for me getting my master's was because I no longer wanted to be the actual provider.
yeah,
So at that time, I think I was still just trying to find my way
hmm
of what I wanted to do. So no, I don't think anything was on hold
hmm
necessarily.
yeah. I mean, so let's kind of talk about what was happening whenever I did get accepted into school. You were finishing up your master's, of course, and right before we left, actually, you had got a job offer to a dentist office. And you
Mhm.
had just got there,
Mhm.
but we were about to leave. So, do you feel like, how did you feel during that time? Like, hey, I just, just landed this job, and I kind of promised him that we would move pretty much for school. How did you feel about that at the
Well, I mean,
time?
I think we talked about it, like your aspirations
Hmm
of going to chiropractic school because you were working at a chiropractic office in Columbia,
hmm
and that's when you started kind of falling in love with it. So
Yeah.
I knew that before even taking that job, that you were eventually needing to go somewhere because obviously it wasn't going to be Columbia.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in that moment, I think that was one of the reasons why I applied to that company because I
hmm
knew that company was all over the place.
Got you.
So, me getting my foot in the door gave me the opportunity to be able to move.
Right.
So it wasn't as scary as it probably would have been if it was just like a local office, but with it being one of those like corporate entities,
hmm
I was able to try to find another job, same role, just in a different area. But it was interesting because when did I start? July.
July.
Yeah,
Yeah. Uh huh.
July that year, and then November we moved.
Right. Right.
So I mean that was 4 months
hmm
between all that. So I mean I basically got trained up and then I moved.
Right. Right. So we've kind of talked about God order our steps with almost everything in our life. Kind of talk about that time. One question I want to ask is like during that time and you knowing that we needed to move, what was some of the things that went through your mind? Like, did you feel like you had to quit that job, or or did you like, well, not necessarily quit that job, but did you feel like the next thing was going to be set in place, or was it kind of like a up in the air?
Oh, I mean, I never knew exactly what was going to happen.
Hmm
Like again, we had the conversations and like my ideal world would say, yeah, I can get up and move and, take another role, but
hmm
that's not how it happens all the time. Like it had to fall into place. Like
Right.
it had to align. And so we had conversations where I was just like, well, I mean, I'll do what I have to do in order for us to be able to move
hmm
where I mean, an hour drive every morning is not terrible. People do it.
Yeah.
So I was willing to make a commute
hmm
for us, in the meantime until I got to a situation where something was available. It just so happened that it did come available
Right. Right.
because you were not very happy about
Not at
me wanting
all.
to commute.
Not at all. Because, like, in my mind, I guess I was being a little bit selfish too. I was thinking to myself, well, if I'm at school and she's driving an hour, we never gonna really see each other. I was thinking about some of that, and then also to your safety.
Yeah.
I just didn't want you like to have to put that many miles on the car if we didn't necessarily have to. Because in the grand scheme of things, here I am talking about finances. In the grand scheme of things, like saving that and you driving every time, we're just gonna the money just gonna be cycling anyway.
Hmm.
So all those things went through my head, but it was something for me. as a man, I felt like I was out of control. Like it was nothing I could control with that because, like you said, you still had to work. So at the time, I was like, okay,
Oh yeah, we needed every penny.
right, right, right. So at the time, I was like, okay, yeah, maybe, I mean, maybe that is the only option. But still in the back of my mind, I was like, I don't want her to have to do that. But luckily, you didn't have to do that. You
Yeah,
know, they kind of,
thankfully.
yeah, it kind of worked out. You end up getting a position here, up here
Yeah,
in
it just
upstate. So,
so it aligned that someone was leaving the same position
right.
and they needed to fill it
Mm-hmm.
up this way,
Right.
with my expertise necessarily, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because at that time it was more about the receivable part of it. But
Right.
yeah, it worked out and
Yeah.
it was perfect. I mean, it still wasn't the ideal situation for me
Mm-hmm.
because I still had to have a crazy commute in the morning, even though I
Right.
wasn't driving distance.
Yeah.
The time was not that much different
Right.
because of all the traffic and
Right.
so
Right. Welcome to Upstate for sure. And
mm,
welcome to 85.
welcome to
Oh, we.
85.
So let's kind of fast forward. So we, you started working up here. I was in school, and all of the financial burden was really on you. I have a question for you. We talked about it before. You say you were fine with it, but I want to ask: were you truly happy during that time?
Yeah, like
Okay.
again, we said it earlier. Like I'm a ride to live, like not a ride to die, right? So I
Right.
knew what you were going after. I knew what you were planning to do. I knew what you were working towards.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, yeah, I was happy because, well, number one, it was something that you wanted.
Yeah.
And I knew like it made you happy.
Mm-hmm.
So, immediately I'm like, okay, let's do this. Number two, who wouldn't be excited about their spouse
Yeah.
hitting the goals that they want, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then number three, I just so happened to be in the area with my family.
Right. Right.
So it wasn't like you took me to, 6 hours away from everybody,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because that would have been tough with you being in class a lot.
Yeah.
But if I really wanted to not be by myself, or if I had a moment on the weekend where you were studying or something, my mom and dad were only 30 minutes away.
Right.
My sisters were only 30 minutes away. My grandma was only 30 minutes away. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I talked to all the time.
Right.
So, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Like,
Right. Right.
call up Carbell and go hang out with her.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I was happy. I had
Yeah.
friends, my friends are still here. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I knew that that was important to you. So that in the back of my head was something that I was thinking about. One, when we were trying to figure out where we were going to live as well too,
mhm,
because my school was in Spartanburg, but uh, one thing I was like, okay, I don't. I know. I said I didn't want you to drive, but for me, I was like, I don't mind driving from
mhm,
wherever, wherever is gonna make her happy and make it work too. Because you were already, sacrificing for me, so I was like, well, hey, I'm gonna sacrifice for her as well too. And going living in Fountain Inn was a lot closer than us living in Spartanburg to family. So I was
mhm.
like,
Yeah.
that's almost like a halfway point. So it was like halfway for the school, halfway to them. So it really
Mhm.
just kind of worked out, and
Yeah.
and it made sense. And one other thing too is I was also thinking about that as well too because during the showcase I was like, okay, yeah, this is getting ready to be vigorous. So also this is one thing in the back of my mind whenever I think about something, I say, well, I'm gonna do this, but I still want to be married. So you know what I mean. So I
Yeah.
think about those things. I think about your feelings. Maybe in the beginning I didn't quite think about your feelings, but I learned to do that as well too.
You
Especially in
evolved.
yeah, especially in a marriage.
I mean, it was tough, I think,
Yeah.
from that point of view, just you were always having to be doing something at school, pretty
Hmm.
much. Like you'll wake up, obviously, because the commute was 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So you wake up, get on the road, get to school.
Hmm.
I mean, what was your first class at 8? You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Oh
So
God.
you'd be gone, left the house by 7,
Hmm.
sometimes a little bit earlier because of traffic.
Right.
Get to school, stay all day because it doesn't make sense. Like you weren't the normal student, you know, you were the seasoned student, so you
Right,
weren't the normal student that stayed in the housing nearby or
right.
something where people could just like, okay, class is done, I'm going home.
Mhm.
So you would stay
Yeah,
to finish up the day and then get home maybe 6:30.
right.
You know what I mean? So that's close to a 12-hour day.
Mhm.
And then when you got home, we ate and then you went to studying.
Right, right.
So there was not a whole lot of time for us.
Yeah. Speaking of that, speaking of time, like I know quality time is your love language. How was that affected during that time?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That was I guess the most difficult piece about it,
Mhm.
only because we barely got to interact. I mean, we tried to make sure that we had a little bit of time, but
Yeah.
from what I was used to what we now had to evolve to, it was tough because I'm like, well, I just want to go do this. I want to,
Mhm.
maybe sit and just watch some TV with my husband, but I knew that you couldn't necessarily do that because of school.
Mhm.
Like you had to study for those tests. I mean, I get it and
Yeah.
I understood. I never thought like you didn't want to talk to me.
Right.
And I also want to make sure I provided space for you to be able to have quiet and
Mhm.
study and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I mean, we didn't have kids at the time. We just had
Yeah.
dogs.
Yeah,
So, I
right.
mean, a dog.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it wasn't that I faulted you necessarily for it, but
Mhm.
it was just kind of at times could be lonely, and that's why I'm saying like it was nice to have family and friends nearby.
Yeah. And I will be completely honest with you. There were times during that entire process that I felt guilty. And not only guilty, but I also felt kind of selfish during times because for me, I was like, my answer for things was, well, babe, I gotta study, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. I. And looking back on it, I felt like it was all about me. And I never really thought about you in the situation as well, too. Perfect example, you know, on top of everything with school, I decided to go, oh yeah, man, I applied to be a student ambassador.
Oh yeah, that got to me.
I decided to be a student ambassador, and like in my eyes, I was like, yeah, this would be a good way for me to like interact with people, be known in the school. Like that was just me like trying to build a I don't even know what I was trying to build. Like build a not even a portfolio, but
Your reputation matters to you a lot.
it
Like you
does.
want people to know your name. You want
Uh
people to see you. Like
yeah.
you are that spotlight type of person. I'm not.
Yeah.
And so for you, that was your way of being a face of the school,
Mhm.
and which you did. You became the face of the school,
Right.
but at what expense?
Exactly. Exactly.
Because, okay, so we're doing that Monday through Friday, and then turn around and now Saturday you got to be gone all day.
Yeah.
That was rough.
Yeah.
Now that one I struggled with a little bit,
Yeah.
and I think we talked about it, but
We have, and during the time, I will be completely honest with you. When I first did it, I thought to myself, I don't see what the big deal is. Like, isn't she with me to try to build my dream? Like, I'm trying to, set things up. And in my mind, I got tunnel vision. I was more focused on, like you said, my reputation and what people thought. But then I neglected what you thought of me as well too,
mhm.
as a husband. And like I said, looking back at it now, I'm like, yeah, that probably was not the best. Not saying that you didn't, like that, wanted me to do things like that, but like still, I should have thought about you. I should have said like, hey, babe, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think?
It was just so frequent,
Yeah.
at the beginning
Uh huh.
anyway. Once when you first got into it, because I was just like, okay, so he's gonna study all week.
Hmm.
That makes sense. You're in school, right?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
study all week, go to class all week, and then on turn around on Saturday, and that's our only day really for us to just
Right.
be,
Right.
at least part of the day,
Hmm.
and you're gone all day. Now
Yeah.
what am I supposed to do? So I'm sitting at
Right.
home and watching TV
Hmm.
or trying to figure something out, do
Yeah.
something in the yard.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. And then come Sunday, and you like, nah, I'm here resting.
Yeah, because I
Got my
mean,
face.
Sunday, then I'm trying to get
Yeah.
myself mentally prepared
Right,
to
right.
deal with the public,
Hmm.
again,
Yeah,
not
right. You don't like people.
not really. Um, but seriously,
Yeah.
like I'm trying to get mentally prepared, and then you're also probably still getting mentally prepared and studying for the next week because you got a test or something
Hmm.
popping up. So,
I'm not gonna lie to you. During that time, I was overwhelmed.
yeah,
I bit off more than I could chew. Looking back at it now, I wouldn't trade the experience. Let me back
yeah.
that up. I wouldn't trade the experience, but looking back at it now, I put too much on my plate when I took on that, because not only did I become a student ambassador, I went into leadership, bro.
Right.
Because if I do something, I got to do it.
Yeah, but that also wasn't the only thing that you did. So there were other
Right,
clubs that you were a part of and
right,
became
right.
leadership in those.
Uh
And then
huh.
so then now you're doing events and
Right.
all these things that's just taking extra time.
Mhm.
And I mean, you're a likable person. So then you had a lot of friends in school that
Mhm.
wanted to hang out with you and you didn't hang out as much as you could have
Yeah.
because I think you started
Uh
recognizing
huh.
but there are times when you're like, "Oh, well, they just want to go here after school," and
Mhm.
I'm like, I don't want to be the wife that nags about it, you
Yeah,
right?
I
Like
got it.
I didn't want to say like, "What? Are you crazy?"
Uh
Like,
huh.
no. So I would say, "Okay, I'll see you later." You
Yeah.
know, even though inside I wanted to probably be like, "What is wrong with him?"
Mhm.
But I also didn't want to take that away from you because that is part
Yeah.
of the experience too.
Yeah.
But that was also tough because
Mhm.
then, I mean, there's only so much time in the day.
Yeah. Right. So, kind of going grand scheme of things with me while I was in school, and focusing on your career as well too. Do you feel that during that time, I wouldn't necessarily say you turned down opportunities, but did you shy away from, advancement in the company, or, different things like that because I was in school, or was that something that it wasn't really even on your radar at the time?
If anything, I want to say that the advancement in the company was probably fueled by you being in school
Hmm.
because I was the sole income at the time.
Yeah. Okay.
So any advancement in the company meant more money in our pocket.
Okay. Got
And
you.
so for me, I'm like, yep, let me go ahead and do this
Hmm.
because then I can better support us.
Got you.
Yeah, because the entry level pay was not gonna be sufficient
Hmm.
forever.
Got you.
And I mean, I also want to do well in my work, right?
Hmm.
So I don't think I turn anything down. I do think that just from maybe personally,
Hmm.
I may have turned some things down with like friends and stuff just because I was trying to accommodate us being together when we could.
Right. Okay.
But professionally,
Yeah.
I don't think I did just because I was fueled by trying to do something greater.
Hmm. Okay. Got you. And so that time was about in 3.5 years. We'll say 4 years.
Yeah.
It was time. I went through got through school, did pretty good.
Oh, you did great. Passed every class
Yes. And in the
the
back,
first time.
yeah, the first time, there we go. Do you feel like, you know, during that time you're like, yeah, it's 4 years, got you. When it's time, it's time. Did you have kind of like a timeline for me to figure it out after graduation, or was it more of just kind of let him kind of flow and see what
I didn't
happens?
have a timeline. I mean, again,
Hmm.
eh, it's not an ideal situation in this economy. Like you have to have two incomes to be like
Yeah.
to be where you feel comfortable, I guess.
Hmm.
But I mean, we were okay.
Okay.
Like we were able to live. I mean, now granted, let's be real, like it was student loans, so you did get a little bit of a refund check that we kind of helped us out a little bit.
Hmm.
I mean, we got to pay that stuff
That
back.
thing ain't do much. Whatever. They don't
But
help you
I mean, it helped out a little
out.
bit,
It
you know
did.
what I mean? Like it took a little bit of an ease off, but
That's another episode for another day. That doc. Never mind. We
it
might as well go
probably
in there.
paid for a month of rent, but
Right.
it was what it was, right? Um,
Yeah.
I forgot where I was going with it.
I'm sorry.
You got me off track. But what was the question?
Did you have a timeline for me?
Oh yeah, we were okay, so I wasn't really
Okay.
on like a timeline.
Yeah.
But I remember there being
Mhm.
this time when, see, you're used to
I already know where you're
everybody,
going with this.
yeah,
Yes. Uh-huh.
everybody loving Tuck.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Tuck, so everything comes to him, and it's easy and it
Mhm.
flows really easy. You don't really have to put too much effort into it. And so I remember you just being like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I don't have a job lined up yet. And I'm
Mhm.
like, well, what did you do? I looked you dead in your eye. I remember this
Uh-huh.
because it kind of shocked you, I think.
It did.
I was like, what kind of effort have you put in? And you were like, I mean, you couldn't think of anything
No.
because going to school, passing boards and
Mhm.
getting your license, all great.
Right.
But what are you going to do with it?
Right.
Like you were waiting on offers to come to you.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? I thought me doing all this stuff in school, it was going to happen that way.
Mm-mm.
Reality hit real quick. It don't work like that. You got to go out there and get it. And I remember that conversation. And it's funny that you said that, is because I use that conversation with everything that I do
Mm-hmm.
now, because no one, and I mean no one, ever in my life asked me, well, what'd you do like that? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, dang, I really don't have an answer for that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And so I remember at that moment, I was like, listen here, it's been 4 years. Like you got to put your foot on the gas at this point
Yeah.
and go out and get what you want.
Yeah.
We didn't do this for nothing.
Right.
And so, I mean, you did just that.
Yeah. And I would say this, another piece that, of course, you fueled me, but we also had Caden. So that was another thing that
Yeah.
fueled me as well,
Yeah.
too.
Because Kaden was just turning 6 months,
Yeah.
a little
Uh
bit
huh.
over 6 months when you graduated.
Right. And it wasn't more of it was and let me clear this up. It was never about the finances for you. It wasn't about like, oh, I need you to bring more money in. It never was like that. It was more of like, you saw what we were trying to build. Now are you going to put the roof on top of it? Basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got to finish it, you got to furnish it, you got to do what you need to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
It was more of a kind of like almost like a realization to me that finished the race almost.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But let's not get it twisted.
Okay.
I needed the extra income too because I like to go travel. I like to be on a cruise or on somebody's island,
Right.
and I can't do that by myself
I get that. I got you. I got
and
you.
take care of the house too.
I feel that.
And we
I
also weren't taking on all those student loans for you not to have income coming in.
that's
So,
that's the truth. Harsh reality. Welcome to adulthood. By the way, adulthood is very overrated, but that's a story for another day.
so I had to light a fire.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I get the message. Don't worry. We're good. We're good
Oh,
now. How
you
about
got
that?
it. Yeah.
Yes. So let's kind of back up. So our timeline of, there was a big span, babe, of you finishing your master's, me going to school, us having kids.
Hmm.
During all that time, like I said, compounded on us, like us having children, do you feel like still some of your dreams and passions were put on hold? And especially when we had Caden, do you feel like things were on a pause?
I think that's a hard question to answer.
Okay.
Only because, like I said earlier,
Mm-hmm.
I think I was trying to find where I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. And I tried different things. And you've always been very supportive of me, you know, trying to do my own business, with the
Yeah.
whole wedding planning thing, which
Mm-hmm.
it was going fine.
Yeah.
But because of children and having a
Mm-hmm.
family, like I kind of backed up off of it because it was taking the weekends away.
Yeah. I understand.
So, I mean, I do have one other goal,
Mm-hmm.
that I will keep to myself,
I got you. I
finish it
understand.
off.
Yeah.
But I do have one other goal eventually, but I don't know that I have a timeline on it,
Okay.
you know? So I can't say that someone or something put a pause on what I was gonna do,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that my thoughts kind of molded based on what we had going on. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
I
Does that make any
understand.
sense? I feel like I'm kind of
No.
mumbling, but what I'm trying to say is our situation at hand with having children,
Mm-hmm.
you getting into your career, me trying to figure out where my career was headed or
Yeah.
what I wanted to do with it. My logical brain was like, let's set this aside for now
Okay.
with it still in mind,
Okay.
but it's not an urgent thing. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? So I don't want to say that we talk about sacrifices. I don't want to say that like I sacrificed my dreams
Yeah, I understand.
because of something that you did or the kids did.
Hmm.
No, I'm just when the time is right.
Got you. No, I get that. I, and me, like you talked about before, I kind of pushed you, not pushed you, but like encouraged you to venture out and do the wedding plan and different things like that. As your husband, I'll be 100% honest with you. When it comes to your dreams, I ask you constantly about those things, about your goals and everything, because not only do I want to, see the benefits from it, but I also want you to be happy. You know what I mean? At the same time, I never want you to think like you have to put things aside because you're a very selfless person. You're very selfless. You always think about us before. I don't want it to get to the point that for years and years and years, I wouldn't say necessarily use it as an excuse, but use it as that's the reason why you're not doing something. And I'm always going to push you to your highest potential because I see things in you that you may not see, but I always want to push you towards those goals.
And I think I know that about you. So that's why I'm saying like I can't sit here. I'm sure many people probably could
Yeah.
say that because I mean you hear it on the TV shows, you hear it, in
Yeah.
reality shows about, oh, I put this on the side because I had my baby, or
Right.
I put
Uh-huh.
this aside because my husband wanted to do his business.
Mhm.
And I don't necessarily think that that is true for us.
Yeah.
Like we communicate so well now
Mhm.
that I feel like if I have a dream, you're gonna be like, yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
If
Yeah.
I'm ready for it. And that's what
Right.
I'm saying. Like I have one goal that I
Mhm.
want.
I mean, I know
I
what it
guess it's
is,
like a
but yeah.
retirement plan. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I know you know. I'm just not, you know. Some people pray and then some people pray. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
I feel
that's
you.
it's just not.
I like that.
But I have one more goal
Mhm.
in mind, but it's just got to be the right time. And right now is
Yeah.
not the right time. And
I
then
got you.
And I'm okay with that. It's
Yeah.
not that I'm saying that something's holding me up. I just
Mhm.
don't think it's the right time yet,
Got you.
you know?
Mhm.
So, anyway, oh no, I have two goals. One is the one that I was just talking about, and then the other one is to be a stay-at-home wife,
Ah,
not a
got you.
stay-at-home mom. I want to be a stay-at-home
I
wife.
like that title actually. Feel that.
Stay-at-home wife.
I feel that.
And then I can make my homemade pastas and all
Yeah.
this stuff and organize my house the way I want it to be
Uh-huh.
without feeling stressed.
Yes.
And sit on the couch and watch Netflix
Mhm.
until y'all get home,
Mhm.
or go out to Target.
Mhm.
Maybe not Target because Target's been trying to play on us, but go out shopping somewhere. Go
Uh-huh.
to Costco.
Yeah.
I don't know. Costco overwhelms me sometimes by
Yeah.
myself, but you know what I mean.
I know what
You
you
get my
mean.
point.
Yes. Yes.
So
And you voiced that to me before because you feel like, things would be a lot easier to get done.
it'll be a
Too.
lot easier to get done
Yes.
because then I wouldn't have nothing to, you know.
Uh-huh. So
And
let's
I
go ahead.
listen,
Go
I
ahead.
want to say this right now
Uh-huh.
because some people are probably listening, being like, "She wants to be like Susie Homemaker." No, that's not the point. It brings me joy
I
to
understand.
like make things with my hands, like
Yes.
to make things from
To
scratch,
create. Yes.
to find ways to make my household less toxic
Mm-hmm.
and healthier.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy the fact that like I'm trying to grow a garden
Mm-hmm.
and I'm able to make my own laundry detergent and I can make sourdough. Like I like those things.
Mm-hmm.
It brings me joy.
Right.
It's actually very stress relieving.
Yeah.
So it's not someone putting me in the kitchen barefoot pregnant. That's not it.
No, I get that. Yeah.
Like it's something that I actually like to do.
Right.
So I just want to make sure I say that out loud because
Mm-hmm.
there are some, stereotypes when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, to be a stay-at-home wife,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm still a mom,
Yeah.
obviously. But when
Got
I
you.
say stay-at-home wife versus stay-at-home mom,
Mm-hmm.
my kids are going to school.
Right.
They're gonna be at the house. They're
Yeah,
not
I
sitting here
feel that.
staring at me
Yeah, no,
while
no,
I'm
no, no,
here
no,
too.
no, no. I get what
You
you're
know what I
saying.
mean?
Yeah, and it's a great segue actually to the next question that I have too.
Hmm.
Because with that, being a stay-at-home wife, did I get that right?
Yep.
Let me get the title right. Got you. being a stay-at-home wife.
Or stay-at-home queen. There we go.
I like that. Misha, the stay-at-home queen. I got
Yep.
you. So, with that being said, of course, I'm gonna talk about the finances. In order for that to be able to be accomplished, of course, we talked about before how nowadays it has to be a two income house, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a two income like coming from two areas. It just gotta equal up to that.
You gotta be at a certain
So,
amount, yeah.
my question for you, with your love language being quality time, to build up to that, are you willing to sacrifice the timepiece for the other part of where the finances will be coming from?
So I
You get
don't
what I'm
think we would
saying?
have to.
Okay.
I don't think you have to
Okay.
because I think at that point we would be building something together, right?
Mm.
Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying that like ultimately I wouldn't be working,
Mm-hmm.
a full-time job,
Yeah.
um, you know, for someone else
Right.
or something like that, and I would be able to be at home and manage the house.
Mm-hmm.
But like we could build something together, and that is part of quality time. Like work
True.
being together for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
intentional time
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean that, it's just sitting on the couch watching a movie.
I get that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I don't think you necessarily have to sacrifice the time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now, if you're having to sacrifice the time, that most likely means that someone is doing their own thing. You know what I mean? Like it would be
Mm-hmm.
you trying to find a second income,
Right.
and like take you out of the house and doing something like that, or me trying to, do
Mm-hmm.
something on my own. But if it was even with the dream that I have,
Right.
you would be building it with me.
Right. No, I get that.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And so in that dream, I want to be more passive.
Right. Right.
So I'm not even thinking about me just like working.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about me building the dream and
Right.
letting it run.
Yeah. I get that. No, and I already knew the answer to that, by the way. I just wanted to ask that because that is what people's first go to is. And when we first started dating, when we got married, my mindset was you work, you get paid. You work, you get paid. You work somewhere else, you get paid.
Hmm.
That was always my mindset. And us together we've grown together to find out that, when it comes to finances, it doesn't always have to be work, and things can be done where you don't have to sacrifice your time and you still get paid. And I feel like that is where some marriages get into a rift because say someone else says like, "Oh yeah, I want to make my wife a stay-at-home wife or a
Hmm.
stay-at-home mom in some people's eyes. Stay-at-home mom. So what does the man go? Well, I got to figure out something to bring some more money in here." And that's where the shift in the rift happens, is that the man thinks that, oh, she ain't doing nothing, I gotta do it all or whatever. But here's the thing though, as a husband and as a man, you're the leader. You don't necessarily have to put it all in your back, but you do have to be point man to say, hey, this is what we're going to do for our dream to be fulfilled. And I feel like that's the piece that's missing. And I feel like men think that you just throw money on something and the problem gets fixed.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not necessarily that all the time. It's what are y'all going to do together to make sure that that dream gets fulfilled? It's a collaboration. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it takes vulnerability
True.
for someone to be able to open that conversation and lead it.
Right.
And I think that's where it lacks sometimes too, because
Mhm.
everybody assumes what the other one's thinking and
Mhm.
what that means and like puts all the weight on their shoulders. We talked about it before, not being
Yeah.
able to show emotions or show that you're frustrated or
Mhm.
that you're overwhelmed. And like, I don't want to just go into something and not have a plan. Like,
Right.
that's not me.
Right.
So when I say all that, I say
Mhm.
that we would be planning together and that would be something that was beneficial for the family,
Right.
not just because I don't want to work for somebody. Like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
not
no,
it.
I
Like,
get it.
I
Yeah.
enjoy what I do.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Um, I have no issues with my role
Mhm.
and, my career. I just know ultimately what brings me like joy
Mm-hmm.
and is taking care of my family
Yeah.
and working with my like making things for myself.
Yeah.
And I would have more time to do that,
Mm-hmm.
if I was the stay-at-home queen.
There you go. Stay home queen. I love that.
But yeah, I mean, until that happens,
Yeah.
I'm not around moping about it because I'm fine. Like
Yeah,
I'm
she's not, y'all.
okay. I'm okay. I enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like it doesn't the sacrifice. There's a sacrifice like when you're starting up on stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's also sacrifice when you're working together to
Mm-hmm.
build additional.
Right.
And I think that's the space that we would be in is like building additional. Like this the sacrifice we did of like moving, you driving 45 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
me, basically driving an hour every morning.
Right,
Um,
right.
you know, being having to be real tight on the budget.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the sacrifices to get us started.
Right.
And now at this point we're just trying to enhance.
Yeah, and then as far as the communication piece, I know one thing that which we haven't done in a while, but I think we should kind of get back to it a little bit about like creating a plan. But we should do like a vision board. Like I said, hadn't done that in a while, but I remember I don't want to misquote because
Hmm.
somebody went a little bit more to Sunday school than I did. But as far as writing it down, what's the verse again?
Write down, make it plain.
There we go. Yeah, oh, that's it. I thought it was more than that.
I mean, it's like write the vision upon the tablets,
Yeah,
or write the vision and make it plain upon tablets. But
yeah,
it's basically saying like, just say what you mean and mean what you say.
right.
Like write it and be serious about it.
Yeah,
You know
because
what I mean? Mean what
yeah,
you say.
your church yourself gave me the King James version when when you first said. And I said, "Excuse me," but like you said, just it's more of not only just writing it down, but just saying it out
Yeah,
loud.
because
Yeah.
the whole purpose behind that verse, press down, shaking together, and run it over. Um,
Okay.
the whole purpose behind that verse, though, is just talking about like writing it down, saying it out loud,
Mm-hmm.
believing it, right?
Yes.
Because the whole point is like believing God's gonna make it happen.
Right.
And so that's what it is. But I joke around with my mom all the time when
Uh
she'll
huh.
say stuff and be like, write it down, make it plain, because I
Yeah.
don't know.
Right.
Just what I'm saying is like say
Mm-hmm.
it, mean it, understand it, believe it,
Right.
because God's gonna be the one that makes it happen.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's right. Amen, sister.
Oh my gosh.
I agree.
Stop.
What?
Stop.
All right, y'all. Talk to you later.
Hey y'all. Did you enjoy the episode today? If so, don't forget to comment your favorite moments and share with your family and friends. While you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to our Married to Millennials podcast YouTube channel and follow us on every major platform for podcasts. And don't forget, we're also on Instagram and TikTok at M2M Podcast. See you later.